How's everyone doing, guys? Sorry I've had to break it up into 3 parts so far. I get about 50 minutes per video, the way that I do it. And then I'll put them all together in like a little vlog format, and then I'll upload them to my YouTube channel. I'm going to send a link to Dr Anna Kotova. If you're watching this, you've already reached that link. Right, so question 7. Is life after prison hard in terms of getting back into employment, education, or wanting to participate in certain activities, right? Yeah, of course it is. Your criminal record will always precede you and stuff, and your reputation and stuff. Like I say, as I've alluded to in the last question, in the last video, a lot of people want to better themselves. There's a lot of people in prison that, given all the skills, training and education in the world, they will still resort back to crime. That's the way it is. But then at the same amount, if not more, would flourish, would prosper, would get a job, would break the cycle of crime, would not re-enter the revolving door that is prison, would get skills, get training, get education, get a job, pay tax back into the system, thus breaking the cycle of crime, and, like I say, bettering themselves, paying tax back into the system. And by paying tax back into the system, indirectly, some of your tax will then be funding prison and prisoners. So, like I say, some people do come full circle, but it's very hard to do so in the current climate and stuff. Like I say, I've gone for jobs. What can you put on a CV, right, as a criminal that's never really worked, that's gained means through criminal activity? Your CV's blank. Your education, I didn't get an education. I've got no GCSEs, right? So you're sending literally a blank CV. What can you put on your CV? Was a very successful criminal, can count large amounts of money, look good in a balaclava. Do you know what I mean? That's the reality, guys. It's extremely rare and very hard. And before you can even get an interview, these employers are like looking at this blank piece of paper or this blank email with your CV attached and like, yeah, scrumple it up. And they've been it. You don't even get an interview, right? That's the reality of my situation. I want to better myself. I'm thick, uneducated street kid from Manchester. No GCSEs, no qualifications. I'm streetwise, I'm clever, I'm very switched on, I'm very shrewd. I can become articulate. I do all these interviews with the media. I'm trying to get a job within the media. But again, no background, didn't go to university, didn't go to college. It's just the way it is. Now, when you come on, this person's asked if you want to participate in certain activities, right? Now, like, let's look at sex offenders, right? For example, right? If you go for a job and stuff, right, and you might want to volunteer at, say, a youth club, right, which are a dying trade these days, as we know. But obviously, that person, this sex offender, this paedophile, this rapist, they'll have to do a DBS, right? Obviously, the police checks and stuff, right? They're not going to pass them police checks. So, for me, obviously, paedophiles and stuff, as someone that was sexually abused, paedophiles are the predators. I don't think it can be treated. I think it's a mental health thing. I think it's something psychologically with those people. I don't think they can ever be rehabilitated, and I don't think their attraction to children or anything will ever go away. So if they wanted to obviously try and better themselves by gaining employment or something, a DBS would stop them dead in their tracks, right? If you've been an armed robber, or you've robbed banks, or you've been a thief or something, and you go to work in a shop, you're going to be met with, you're not even going to get through the door for an interview, are you? So yeah, your criminal record, the implications of your criminality, you don't think about it when you're involved and stuff. Hindsight's a great thing. But like I say, when you eventually, if you come to a point where you want to rehabilitate yourself and you want to reform yourself and you want to come away from crime, you might want to better yourself, and your heart might be in the right place in doing so. But because your criminality precedes you and stuff, and you've been held accountable for your actions in the past, it stops you moving forward. You can't get a job. You can't better yourself. You can't volunteer because your criminal convictions. Because, like I say, if a paedophile went to want to work at a youth club, he wouldn't be allowed to, because, and rightly so, because his criminal convictions precede him and stuff. So then what do? You revert back to crime. It's ever present and stuff. But there are some fantastic organizations and stuff that help ex-offenders, out there. Richard Branson's Virgin Trains, they actively take on ex-offenders. I think it's about 10% of their workforce is are ex-offenders, because he thinks that your past shouldn't dictate your future. And I think it's a great initiative by Sir Richard Branson. I'd like to see other companies follow suit, but as it stands, there are some great organisations out there that are trying to help prisoners, ex-offenders, get skills training and education. You've got people going into prison trying to help ex-offenders, trying to better themselves and stuff. But like I say, the system's as broken as the people that enter the system. You go in broken and you leave in bits, and then it's an uphill struggle to try and get into a better place. If you want to better yourself, you're met with pure resistance and stuff. That's the reality. I wish it wasn't that way, but like I say, and that's why reoffending and stuff, people go back to crime, and it like I say, it costs 9.5 to 13.5 billion pound a year for reoffending rates and stuff, because people go back to crime. Question 8: what are prison officers like? Are they consistent in the way they treat prisoners? I've been in HMP prisons where the prison officers in HMP, my honest assessment is that they don't really talk to you, they don't really interact with you. The only people that have a good relationship with prison officers in the HMP are cleaners, because they work alongside the prison officers. On my last stretch, in Cat B Forest Bank, private prison run by Sodexo, here in Salford, I was a cleaner. They knew I did the interviews with the media. They knew I did these vlogs, and they put me in a prime position to see the workings of the wing. I was a wing cleaner, and I saw everything. I saw the mental health struggles. I saw the violence. I saw the struggle that the officers go through. And you know what, It's a really weird thing to say this, when I was in Strangeways, our attitude as cons, as prisoners, was it's us versus them. In other words, it's prisoners versus prison officers. When I saw the struggles that these prison officers went through, the suicide, there was a guy that died, a guy called Dan Rawlinson, died of a drug overdose on G1. My red badge, my senior officer, Mr. Radcliffe, or Radders as he was known, he found this guy unresponsive, and he gave him mouth to mouth for, I think it was about 20 minutes or something, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or something. He'd recently lost his mum, this officer, and I went to the office to ask to open the stores so I could put the bedding away, and he was crying, and I don't know what happened, but it changed my mind in an instant. These prison officers are actually people. Some of them enjoy the job way too much. Some of them are corrupt. Some of them are hands-on. Some of them are bullies. But in the same, it's just like the criminal fraternity. You've got good prisoners. You've got bad prisoners. Like I say, that's just it. We've got good and bad in every society, in every walk of life. And these prison officers, where I thought it was us versus them, as in cons versus screws, or prison officers, sorry, I now found myself having a real bad conflict of emotions, because I felt sorry for this person. He was a human being. He was a man. He had a wife, he had kids, he wanted to go home to his wife and kids. He was lucky though, because he didn't go into a life of crime. He obviously moved into the line of work that he did. He was a nice guy, he was firm, he was fair. I had great interactions with the prison officers on my last stretch, and it changed my outlook and my attitude towards them. In any other walk of life, the prison officers that banged me up, I would have been friends with, but overall, like prison officers, you've got different sides, you've got different attitudes of prison officers, You've got the young ones coming through, They're full of testosterone and it's a job and they take the job too serious, You've got the old school screws, that if you're entitled to it, you'll get it. If you're not, you won't. Then you've got the firm but fair ones. that, like I say, depending on what mood they're in, what side of the bed they woke up on, they'll help you or they won't help you depending on what you're asking. And then you've got the, like, you've just got people that come to work, it's simply a job, and they go home. Then you've got other prison officers, there's a new breed coming through that actually want to make a difference. They speak to you as human beings, you have good interactions with them, they've got great sense of humour, great personality, and you feel sorry for them. The attitude of cons versus prison officers now, or prison officers to cons, we feel sorry for prison officers because of they're understaffed. Prisons are very violent, volatile places, I've alluded to. They're understaffed. Their pay doesn't reflect the danger of the job, because they suffer the violence and that they suffer on a daily basis, verbal abuse, being like people throwing like scalding hot water at them, people throwing cups of urine at them, feces, everything. Doesn't reflect, the pay doesn't reflect the danger of the job. And then, so we feel sorry for them because they work at long hours and stuff. And then you've got the other side of the coin where they feel sorry for us because the smoking ban, the sustained periods of bang up and stuff. Prison officers would love to let prisoners out for a longer period of time, but due to the safety and stuff like that, sometimes you'll have it where they'll say, we want to let you out, but there's not enough officers to safely control you. People are in sick, we're running skeletal, and we can't safely control you guys on the wing, so we can't let you out. That happened to me a lot in strange ways, that. So yeah, we feel sorry for them, they feel sorry for us. Like I say, but you do have bully officers as well. Like I say, for me, they get everything they deserve, but my overall thing is I feel sorry for prison officers. I think they do a very difficult job. And the management at the top of the prison, they don't communicate very well with the officers on the wings and stuff. And yeah, it's on my last stretch I saw a lot of things. I saw the struggle for these prison officers first, and I saw violent incidents unfold, I saw the mental health, I saw the self-harm. I left my wing to go and get the food trolleys, and this lad that had died of a drug overdose in his wing, in his landing, we actually saw his body being taken out of prison in a body bag, like literally past us, which was an experience and a half. I've left prison, but prison will never leave me through my experiences and stuff. Yeah, I can't put it into words, guys. People keep telling me to write a book on stuff, but for now, I'm just going to do these criminology tours and everything else. I hope that answers your question. I feel like I had a shaky start. I was a little bit nervous because you guys are academics and stuff. Don't want to come across stupid. The first few questions weren't the best, but I feel like comfortable now. I'm starting to take off. But I can talk for England as well, as you've probably clocked. But right, listen, guys, I'm gonna move on to the next video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the video here. I'm gonna have to do it another one. Thank you for your time. Stay with me.